Rapid Solicitors, sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Accident compensation and medical negligence claims.
Hello and welcome to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. A big Challenge Cup theme on this week's show as we find out who the 4 semi-finalists will be in this year's competition. Belfast already through, but big series between the Panthers and the Flyers, the Steelers and the Dundee Stars, and the Coventry Blaze and the Braehead Clan. We'll have highlights from all the games, including this one here at Ice Sheffield between the Steelers and the Stars, where Dundee lead by 4 goals to 2. Let's get straight on though with hockey action. The Belfast Giants, a tough weekend last weekend, away in Murrayfield on Sunday. A very tricky home game though at the Odyssey against the Braehead Clan. How would they get on, Chris?
Belfast knew they would go top if they beat Braehead, as they had more regulation time wins than Nottingham, but they fell behind in the first period. 10-18 gone, Farmer latching onto Goldie's pass, so 1-0 Braehead. And then determination on the right-hand side initially. Into the back of the net was Goldie, right on the doorstep. Hartmanis and Farmer with the assists, so it was a 2-0 first period lead. Then a break down the ice left-hand side, Farmer and Nicoletti getting the assist. Hartmanis with his second goal for the Clan, and then again left-hand side. This time Goldie and Phillips, and it came 30 seconds later for Galbraith, scoring an 18th goal of the season. 4-0 Braehead. What a scoreline in the Odyssey Arena. The near 4,000 crowd could not believe it. The fight back began though in the third period, 58 seconds in, Colbert on the rebound. So that was 4-1. And then at 5:50, Colin Shields scored right onto the rebound. He was happy and he was sensing a comeback. It was a 4-2 game. But here came the hammer blow. Hartmanis threw on goal. Save was made, but he got to the rebound to make it 5-2. And then Doug Christensen gambled early, pulled the netminder, and with more than 3 minutes to go, Goldie into an empty net. A 23rd of the season, he scores short-handed, and the game is wrapped up. Belfast 2, Braehead 6. After losing at home to Braehead the previous night, nothing less than a win would do for the Belfast Giants. But the Caps have been good recently. They've won in Sheffield, they've won in Nottingham. But they fell behind to a well-worked goal finished off by Garside, a 5th of the season for him. 1-0 Belfast. Got better for them less than 2 minutes later on the power play this time for the home side. Again, it was worked well, it was patient, and there, right on the doorstep, Peacock, another British player, a 12th of the season. So 2 players off to Latvia for the Olympic final qualifiers have made it 2-0. Then Darryl Lloyd made it 3-0 at 7:41. It really was one-way traffic, 15 shots on goal in period 1 for the Belfast Giants. To the second period now, and Davy Phillips scores a 5th goal of the season. 29 minutes gone exactly. That made it 4-0, and there was still time for a short-handed goal in period 3. Another of Belfast Brits, Colin Shields, scored an 18th goal of the season. Belfast 5, Edinburgh 0.
So the Belfast Giants bounce back with a drubbing of the Edinburgh Capitals, but after a home defeat against the Braehead Clan. That defeat will significantly dent their title aspirations. Yes, they bounce back, but they can't keep losing games at home like they've done recently. The Braehead Clan, that was their first game of 3 in 3 nights as well. We'll see how they got on Saturday and Sunday a little later in the show, but their new head coach, Paul Gardner, he's looking like a god right now. He's still unbeaten. Time for more hockey action. We'll stay in the Gardner Conference as well. The Hull Stingrays taking on the 5 Flyers. Here's Chris Ellis.
This was the first of two matches between these two sides last weekend, and both had streaks to break. The Stingrays had lost their last 4, the Flyers lost their last 3 on the road. The home side went ahead in the first period, a wraparound from Squires, the 4th of the season, only 2 minutes and 18 seconds gone, and they were celebrating. Before the midway point of the first period, it got even better for the Stingrays, who have struggled for form really all season. Left-hand side there for Silverthorne, the 14th of the season, 2-0 to the Stingrays, and they were up and running, really they were. Though to period 2 now, and back came the Flyers. They had a power play opportunity early doors in that second period, and Hogg and Keister setting up Chamar, an 18th of the season, that on a 5-on-3, and it suddenly became a 1-goal game. But the home side came straight back at them, and at 27:52, Rodin and Davis getting the assists on Cloutier's 9th goal of the season. But still, the Flyers came back again on the power play, and this time Chamon and Keister getting the assist, and Hogg scoring a 23rd goal of the season. So back to a 1-goal game. Still in the second period, 1:15 to go in session 2. A power play goal for Cloutier, a rebound again, attempt of the year, and that made it 4-2. And now some breathing space once more. To period 3, and this one's short-handed. Cloutier here, setting up Dooley. Terrific setup there from the player coach. Or Stingrays 5 Flyers 2.
Well, if a team needed a victory, it was Sylvain Cloutier and the Hull Stingrays, desperate for a win. They hadn't won a game in an age. They had to get back to winning ways, and they did so at home against the 5 Flyers. Important that game on so many levels. Gardner Conference level, but also it just got the Stingrays a little bit closer to that all-important 8th spot. Right, time for a break now. When we come back, action from the NIC in Nottingham and the Motorpoint Arena in Sheffield, where the Panthers and the Steelers, well, if they want to win a league championship, they just have to keep on winning. Don't go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where you'll see we're at Ice Sheffield to see the Challenge Cup quarter-final second leg game between the Sheffield Steelers and the Dundee Stars. Remember, Dundee lead 4-2 after the first leg. Are we in the place where an upset will be made and Dundee make it through to their first semi-final of the Challenge Cup? Well, we'll find out a little bit later on in the show. Time for some more action now. We'll head up to Nottingham and to Sheffield as well, where the Panthers and the Steelers were in action. Steelers head coach Ryan Finnerty was hoping for a comfortable victory against the Cardiff Devils, whilst also hoping that Paul Thompson and the Coventry Blaze could do the Steelers a favour by taking some points out of Nottingham. Did that happen, Chris?
A crowd of 5,500 in the National Ice Centre. No goals in the first period. To period 2, a rare mistake from Craig Kowalski, caught out behind his net, and Bayrak set up Cameron at 22:37 short-handed. Then Peter Hirsch pulled off a great save at one end, a break by the Blaze. Campbell setting up Greg Lieb just past the midway point. Terrific finish from him. 2-0 to Coventry then. Nottingham needed to come back into the game, and come back into the game they did. A dump in there by Guy Lepine. He went to fetch his own puck. He created this, and it was then the shot there from Clark. Myers to the rebound. So it was 2-1. You see Griffin and Ling talking to each other. Well, that was just the starter, because here is the main course. They're starting to go now, just out of picture, but then they trade some big bombs there, and that fight is over. But the two of them go toe-to-toe. Well, it seemed to inspire Nottingham, because they then levelled the game at 2-2. Weaver and Benedict getting the assist for this goal, and David Clark right there on the doorstep to level things up with 1:30 to go in period 2. Nottingham scored again before the period was over. 25 seconds on the clock here to the second interval, and Weaver against his former club, it trickles in. Nottingham were leading by 3-2. This could be the goal of the season. What a move from David Clark. takes the defenceman inside out and scores his second of the night to make it 4-2. Coventry, though, fought back at 48-45. Campbell setting up Egner, so it was 4-3 and suddenly a one-goal game, and maybe the Blaze were going to come back into this one. But the Panthers grew stronger as the third period went on. First of all, Bruce Graham skates into the offensive zone and scores from the right circle. That made the game 5-3, and it really was turning in their favour. And then Francis starts this move off, and he also finishes it too, in front of the net on the backhand. That's 6-3. You can see Hirsch has had enough. He is replaced there by youngster Adam Goss. But Goss is soon beaten. Gallivan there, making it 7-3. Nottingham then changed their netminder, Dan Green getting 9 minutes of ice time. And they score once more, a hat-trick goal for David Clark. Final score in the NIC, Nottingham 8, Coventry Blaze 3. Cardiff gave a debut to netminder Chris Whitley, the former Dundee man, while the Steelers were without Chris Frank, the former Cardiff man, who took a match penalty in Steelers' recent game in Dundee. First goal of the night went to Sheffield. Champagne and Le Guy setting up Ferguson, dead on 11 minutes to give the home side the lead. But back came Dundee. They swept up the ice. Marsh and Adams setting up Faulkner, short-handed for a 33rd goal of the season. The Steelers were having none of that and came back almost immediately. This goal set up by Gertsen, the feed behind from Tate, and Fatter jumps into play for a 10th goal of this season, and that was 2-1 Sheffield at the end of the first period. And then the Cardiff Devils drew level. Good skate from Blight, setting up Batch, the British man, driving the net. 1:41 into period 2 saw the game level at 2-2, and the Steelers were pegged back once more. It was a great game, the fans were loving it, and there was also some feistiness. Look how hard the battle goes on the board. Kenton Smith and also Michelle of the Steelers, the two of them trade punches for a while, and only minor penalties for them in the penalty box. Steelers coming forward once more. Great move there in front of the net from Ferguson. Tate jumps onto the rebound, making it 3-2 to the home side. And they have their noses in front. Cardiff Devils not happy. Is the man falling in the crease? Is the net going off its moorings? It was a goal. It was 3-2 Sheffield. This was a terrific finish from Drew Fatter, a second of the night and an 11th of the season. That one a rasping shot from the blue line, making it 4-2. It could have been 5, but Ferguson saw his shot hit the crossbar. And it is emphasised here in the slow-mo replay. Whitley is beaten, but unfortunately for the Steelers, it's not in the back of the net. The Devils weren't beaten though. They came back into the game. A right scramble in front of the net, and somehow, amongst that scramble, Phil Hill forces the puck over the line. He makes it a one-goal game. It's 4-3. The netminder, though, is pulled, so there was going to be a chance of the empty net situation, and Tyler Michelle scores at 58-51. Game over then. It is 5-3. But not totally in terms of scoring. This goal came too little too late, but on the power play with 16 seconds to go, Faulkner's second of the night. Sheffield 5, Cardiff 4.
So a big win for the Nottingham Panthers, and the Sheffield Steelers squeezing through the Cardiff Devils on Saturday night. You'll see here, though, ahead of this game this evening in the Challenge Cup between the Steelers and the Dundee Stars, I'm joined by Dundee coach Jeff Hutchins, and Jeff, what a great opportunity tonight is for the Dundee Stars to progress to a semi-final.
Yeah, it's a big moment for our club. Be the first time that we'd be in a position of a semi-final. We'd put in some work in the first game, but it's like I told the guys, it's not over. It's a two-legged match, and we'll have to approach it the same way we did the first game.
What happened in that first game? It was a great result for you. I understand you weathered the storm for a while, but then took those opportunities when they've come, which is what you've done all season, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that Sheffield's got a strong club. They're well balanced throughout. A lot of speed, but I think our patience. I think we kind of clogged up the middle and just kind of waited for them to come to us. And we've got a pretty good back end and a goalie, and we just waited for some mistakes, and there was some, and we capitalised on them.
What are you expecting tonight here at EIHL? How do you expect the Steelers to approach this one?
I mean, there's been a lot of hype surrounding the game, you know, what happened at the end of the game. But I mean, I don't think we as a club can approach it any differently. I think, you know, we have to take it as it comes during the game, and you know, we just have to go with the same attitude that it's a 0-0 game, and you know, we need to win a hockey game, and that's it, and we'll progress.
Progression is something that the Dundee Stars have done this year. You must be delighted how your first year as coach has gone on, because Dundee have made substantial progression.
Yeah, I think you know, I brought in a couple of players that maybe some other clubs had given up on, and I think you know, they had a point to prove. And again, you know, you're a fan of our goalie. We've had a good goaltending all year long, and it's something that the club in the past hasn't had. And you know, I think the conference system helps as well. I think, you know, you're playing a lot of games against your own conference, and it's a chance to, you know, build up the rivalries and put points on the board. You're
looking like a genius signing Wirral and then signing Reininen as well. You've taken another gamble, some I think, with the signing you made this morning, Ozelins. Why him? Why now?
Well, I mean, I think we talked about it earlier. I think, you know, we are in a stage where there's about 2 weeks before the transfer deadline, and you know, he's a player that, you know, can put points up in this league. You know, he proved it in the first 10-15 games, and I was always impressed when we played Hull, you know, with his skill and his speed. And I think that's something that we lacked up and down the lineup, and I think you know, he'll do a good job for us.
Sure he will. Makes his debut tonight, and I guess you don't mind if it takes 60 or 65 minutes as long as you get the result.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're just approaching it as any other game, and we need to win a hockey game to progress, and that's what our focus is on.
OK, well, we wish Jeff Hutchins all the very best. Time for more hockey action now. We're going up to Scotland for 3 games, from 5 from Dundee and from Edinburgh. Enjoy.
Braehead have been revitalised since the changes at the club, none more so than new head coach Paul Gardner taking over the Clan. But they fell behind here in the first period. A turn-in shot by Wirral to score his 21st goal of the season. Only 5 minutes and 21 seconds gone in the game, and the home side were ahead. But the Clan came straight back into things and began to build some pressure. They had to wait, though, until 15:26. Galbraith and Walker working well, right-hand side, and Nicoletti jumps into play. The D-man there getting his 5th goal of the season and level things up at 1-1. But Dundee came again in the second period, coming up to the midway point here, and they're piling the pressure on. This time Ryanen jumping onto a giveaway, and Wirral scoring, the two of them combining so well this season. The second of the night for Wirral and a 22nd of the season. We then see some penalties against the Stars. First of all, there McCluskey for hooking, so a power play for the visitors. And they begin to move the puck around nicely, work it well, take their time, and a drive there from the high slot from Nicoletti. A 2nd of the game, a 6th of the season. Farmer and Goldie getting the assist. It's 2-2. Next to go to the box there was Watkins. This now in the 3rd period, a tripping minor being called on Watkins there. So again, the power play, but it springs into action. And who else, because he's doing so well at the moment, who else but Nicoletti? A hat-trick goal. Goldie and Hartmanis with the assist. So 3-2 to the visitors. They have their noses in front for the first time. There was just time left for an empty net goal. Nicoletti getting the assist for a great night for him. Burnstill with the other one, and Farmer into an empty net. 4 unbeaten now for Gardner. Dundee 2, Braehead 4. This was the second of 2 meetings between these two sides last weekend. The Stingrays won in Hull on Saturday, so chance for them to maybe make it a double. And they went ahead in the first period. Osman there with his 18th goal of the season. So at 12:42, the visitors were in front. But it wasn't long before the home side were level. Keller and Dolan getting the assist on this one. And Dutium is there for his 5th goal of the season. At 15:13, it was a 1-1 hockey game. To period 2 then, and the Fife Flyers, well, they started to take control of things. They certainly had more shots, 22-6 were the stats, and they scored on the rebound. Keller, a 6th of the season, a 1st point of the season for British player Josh Schoon as well, an assist on that goal. That coming with the period coming to a close, and then they went on the power play, did the home side, and they were able to get 2 goals in front. Pitton with the tip from Keller's shot, and it was 3-1. and very much then in the Five Flyers' favour. The third period was more even in terms of shots on goal, 11 each. But it was the Hull Stingrays coming forward that they were snuffed out. A giveaway, and Shamar gets to the rebound from hitting shots. 53-19 gone in the game, 4-1 the Five Flyers. This one is sewn up. There was time for one more goal on the power play. You don't get much later than this. It was timed at 59-59. Keller and Keister getting the assist, and Hogg scoring his 24th of the season. Final score, Five Flyers 5, or Stingrays 1. Steelers' recent record in Scotland hasn't been too great, so Edinburgh would have fancied themselves to get something from this game. First period action and a rebound right there on the doorstep. Ferguson with his 7th goal of the season, putting the visitors in front. But the Edinburgh Caps came back. Only 11 shots on goal in period 2 and only 4 of them for Edinburgh. But they scored with 1 of them. Somehow this goes in. It takes all sorts of deflections over the Carrow, and Leanweber scores his 13th of the season. What a find he's been for Edinburgh. So to period 3, at least there were 17 shots on goal in this one, 10 for the Steelers, and one of them, again, it was a scramble right in front of the net, and Hewitt forces the puck over the line for 2-1 Sheffield. Closing stages now into the final 15 seconds. Netminder pulled, empty net at one end, gamble by the Caps, and they score. The blue line shot there from Patry, a 4th of the season. Look how happy the Caps are. The game is level at 2-2, a point each. Who's going to get the extra one? Well, the home side were on the back foot. Determination by the Steelers. First of all, Fatter, and then watch Tyler Michelle. Down he goes, up it gets. Somehow uses his stick to get that puck and goes back into the zone. And then he combines there with Stevenson and Legui. They work it right-hand side. They're patient, they take their time, and they find Michelle for the game-winning goal. After overtime, Edinburgh 2, Sheffield 3.
An all-in point for the Edinburgh Capitals, but the Sheffield Steelers just sneaked through with that overtime winner from Tyler Michelle. Good victory as well for the Five Flyers. They overturned Saturday's defeat to the Hull Stingrays with a convincing victory in Kirkcaldy. The Braehead clan made it 2 wins out of 2. Remember, they've still got a 3rd game this weekend to go, and that was an all-important victory in all levels, conference and league, over the Dundee Stars. Not many conference teams go to Dundee and win. Right, time for a break. When we come back, lots more action, including this game here at Sheffield between the Sheffield Steelers and the Dundee Stars. Could Dundee be about to make a cup upset?
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where we're at Sheffield and we're expecting an upset as the Sheffield Steelers are at home to the Dundee Stars, with Dundee carrying a 2-goal advantage in the second leg of the quarter-final of the Challenge Cup. More Elite League action for you first, and the Braehead clan were playing their 3rd game in 3 nights, a difficult road trip at the Skydome Arena in Coventry. Talking of difficult road trips, the Nottingham Panthers were heading over to the Big Blue Tent in Cardiff. Ryan Finnerty, Doug Christensen, well, they had their fingers crossed that Jared Adams' side could cause an upset and take some points off the Panthers. Did they succeed, Chris?
A tough trip to Cardiff to test the title credentials of the Nottingham Panthers, and in the second period, after a scoreless first period, they went ahead on the power play. The tip from Bruce Graham to get his 25th goal of the season. Werner and Benedict getting the assist for 1-0 Nottingham. Into period 3, and this was great work from Matthew Myers and Kelsey Wilson. First of all, Myers battles on the right side, then Wilson, and they set up Gallivan, a 17th of the season, back in the lineup this weekend after his injury, and Nottingham were leading by 2-0. But back came the Cardiff Devils. Good move up the ice, Beerbrand and Blight getting the assist, 51-51. Faulkner with a 35th goal of the season. It was only a 1-goal game. And then, on the power play here, Jason Beckett had been thrown out of the game for a check to the head, so a 5-minute power play, and McRae levels things up at 2-2. the Cardiff Bay Arena. The big blue tent was alive. Then Nottingham went on the power play and they took full advantage. Great drop pass from Myers, and Ling scoring a 25th goal of the season. The other assist to Weaver, and he became the all-time leading assist scorer, taking over from Dan Carlson to move on to 353 assists in Elite League history. Still time for Robert Lakovic to take his time and wrap the game up. And Nottingham take the 2 points. Cardiff Devils 2, the Panthers 4. This game was finally poised from the first leg in the Sky Dome. It ended 2-2 on that occasion, and only 50 seconds had gone in Braehead when breaking down the left-hand side was new boy Hendrick, setting up Brad Lee. 1-0 Coventry. What a start for the Blaze. It got better for them. 21 seconds later, Derek Campbell was found all alone in the slot. Where was Braehead's defending? It was 2-0 to Coventry. To period 2, a power play for the Clan, and Nicoletti and Goldie get the assist here. The shot from the blue line from Burnstill. It was a 1-goal game. And then Hart Manis made it 2-2 to period 3, and the Blaze went ahead again. Cameron ghosting in there at 43-45, but at 57-06, Nicoletti scores. It's a fumble there by Peter Hirsch. That makes it 3-3. And then the whole building in Braehead was bouncing. It was a wraparound from Jade Galbraith. Hirsch says that the net was off its moorings. He was furious. But the goal was given, and Galbraith scored what turned out to be the winning goal. The clock ticked down, but that wasn't the end of the action. Now watch this. Braehead players going to celebrate, and suddenly Derek Campbell appears and starts to look for some trouble. He gets involved, and then he tries to shake off the linesman. This got him a 1-match ban from the Elite League Disciplinary Committee. And then Ben Olsen as well starts to throw some punches and get involved. Olsen getting a 2-match ban from the Disciplinary Committee. So some real shenanigans after the game. But what mattered for the Clan was there in the semi-finals of the Cup. It finishes on the night. Clan 4, Blaze 3. So Braehead go through 6-5 on aggregate.
So 3 wins in 3 nights for the Braehead Clan, an outstanding victory for them. That was a tough schedule, especially short-benched. As for the Nottingham Panthers, well, the Devils pegged them back to 2 apiece, but then the Panthers found a way to win. They certainly have got one hand on that league championship already. So if it is the Panthers that's going to take the league title, who's going to take the Challenge Cup? 2 teams that want it are the Dundee Stars and the Sheffield Steelers. I'm joined by John and David for tonight's second leg, quarter-final game between the 2 teams. David, I'll start with you. Yep. You come into the game probably favourites now. What a great result after that first leg.
Well, yeah, it was a great result for us. We really took the game to Sheffield. 1 or 2 unsavoury moments at the end of the game, but I think coming in tonight we're confident that we can get at least a draw, if not the win, to qualify and play the Clan in the semis.
Do you try and defend that lead, or do you actually go at it like it's a 0-0 game? What would your advice to Jeff Hutchins be? It's
a tough one, isn't it? But I think we've got to go for it, because I don't want us getting complacent and sitting back on the 2-goal lead. I think we've got to go for it and treat it as if it's 0-0 from the start.
Tell you what, John, for the Steelers to progress, they've got to beat Nick Riopel 3 times minimum tonight. They've had trouble beating him. Sheffield haven't had great success against the Stars, have they?
No, it's been a close game every game. I think the most have beaten by is 2 goals in a 3-1 win early in the late last year. But we've got to go from the beginning. Hammer them. Hopefully, if the referee lets the game flow, we should be all right. If we get into penalty trouble, then that's where we could go all wrong.
Now, you talk about the referee. Dean Smith's the man in charge tonight. Reading the papers, looking at the website, it looks like the Steelers are going to go after the Dundee Stars in every physical way. Is that the best way to beat them?
I think we've got to put them under a lot of pressure and sort of hope that they retaliate, give us a few penalties, hope our power play clicks and take it from there.
What's your prediction tonight?
It could be a tight one. I think it could go to overtime and possibly even penalties.
Okay, your reaction, David?
I think Stars probably lose by 1 but qualify on the night for the semis.
Those are the 2 predictions. It's game time, folks. It's the Sheffield Steelers 2, the Dundee Stars 4 after the first leg. Who's going to win it? Roll the dice, Chris.
Sheffield Steelers had a 2-goal deficit to make up in Sheffield if they were to make these semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. It went their way in the first period. It was feisty. Don't forget, at the end of the last game, Chris Frank got a match penalty with some shenanigans that went on. Well, here, players just beginning to get involved and talk to each other and rough each other up. At this stage, there were no goals, but plenty were to follow in the first period. But we had to wait until just about the halfway point. Power play for Sheffield, and the goal is timed at 9:51. They're patient with the extra man. They just take their time and they score right on the doorstep. Limbright scores. Fata gets the assist. You'll see here that players get involved in each other again. Baxter having a word with the celebrating Steelers players. You'll watch on the replay though, and you'll see why it happened. Bowen steps in. The players just begin to, some of them pair off. No proper punches thrown by them, but you'll see here the goal goes in, it's loose. And it is Limbright with the goal, but watch now, the celebrating player comes in, across now, and leaves his arm out there on Riopel, and Riopel goes down. But that is Sheffield Steelers leading by 1-0. They needed that start if they were to get back into the game early on. Now it became 2-0 just 20 seconds later. A giveaway by Dundee. They were at 6s and 7s, and Ferguson scores. So it's 2-0 on the night, and that means it's 4-4 on aggregate. And those Steelers players and the fans behind them know that they're now level on aggregate. It got even better before the period was over. Thomas and Champagne with the assist on a free-flowing move for Jeff Legree. That is now Sheffield in front. They're leading the tie on the night by 3-0. They score there, and they are happy, and they're suddenly in front in the cup tie. There was another goal just seconds later again. 40 seconds later, it was Ferguson there, his second of the night, and the Steelers had scored 4 in the first period, and they were bouncing. Sheffield was alive. You'll see from the replay that it just deceives Riopel. He'll probably want that one back. So that made it 4, and it got even better, would you believe, 50 seconds before the end of the first period. This time it's Champagne and Legree, and Tyler Michel makes it 5. 5 on the night for the Sheffield Steelers. Riopel out of position. One of the good netminders this season, not having the best of nights in Sheffield. So that was 5. No goals in the second period, but into the third, and Saric scores. Riopel beaten once more. So that was basically game over. It had really been for a long time. There was still time for one more goal in the game, and it was no surprise it went the Steelers' way. They were rampant throughout the game. Dundee probably a bit careless, especially in defence. A turnover once more, and it was worked so strongly by the Steelers for Phillips to score goal number 7 of the night. And the celebrations were well and truly underway. A 16-shot shutout for John De Caro as he blanked the Dundee Stars, but it was 7-0 on the night to the Sheffield Steelers, which means they go through to the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup, 9-4 on aggregate.
Well, a fantastic result for the Sheffield Steelers, though the Dundee Stars will be so disappointed after coming to Sheffield with that 2-goal lead after the first leg. We'll have plenty of reaction from both coaches and Steelers' Danny Myers after the break, so don't you go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports, where the Sheffield Steelers have made it through to the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup following a comprehensive 7-0 victory over the Dundee Stars. I'm joined by Danny Myers, a man who, of course, is used to lifting the Challenge Cup. And Danny, we know now the 4 semi-finalists, Nottingham and Belfast. Nottingham, after beating the Five Flyers 5-2 at the NIC this evening. The Sheffield Steelers will take on the Braehead Clan. Before we talk about that, talk us through this game tonight. At the end, it was pretty comprehensive, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think people forget that for the first 50 minutes in Dundee we were very good, and obviously we had a bad 10 minutes, and a lot's been said about that game, and obviously what's happened at the end of the game. But we played very well for 50 minutes up in Dundee, and we felt that we wanted to come at them straight away. That's obviously a game plan of ours, and we wanted to be very physical. We didn't feel that they could match our toughness, and to be honest with you, I think our physicality really took control in that first period, and we were beating them to pucks, and certainly beating them to pucks in corners, and our dominance really came from outworking them and getting to pucks first, and in the end it was a great victory for us.
First goal was always going to be key, wasn't it? And then when the first one came, kind of opened the floodgates.
Yes, it did, and it's much of a relief for us because we struggled against Dundee and certainly their goalie this year. So many a time this year I've kind of found myself wondering how we were still tied with Dundee. I felt that we've generally played very well against them, but their goaltender has been excellent, and with that potent first line they're always a threat. So today was great. We got on top on their goalie, we kept their first line quiet, so all in all it was a perfect game for us.
Was it important between the first and second period that you never let the emotions and the intensity drop? Because to all intents and purposes the game was done and over at that point, but you didn't want to give Dundee even a sniff to get back in it.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we've had a tendency this year of blowing three goal leads. So, that's nothing new to us. So for us, it was we knew we had to buckle up and really carry on. And the second period kind of evened itself out a little bit, but at the same time, we didn't really give much away. So we kind of stepped back on the gas in the third period, and a 7-0 win against Dundee, especially the results they've been having lately, is quite an achievement for us. And
a semi-final against the Braehead Clan, their second year, by the way, of making it to the semi-finals. A big achievement to them, knocking Coventry out. That sets up a mouth-watering semi-final for you.
Pretty much the hottest team in the league right now, I would say. Since their new coaches come in, they've had some outstanding results, obviously winning in Belfast and beating the Coventry Blaze over 2 legs. They continue to play with, I believe, 12 skaters, but 12 very good skaters. And for us, we certainly respect the Braehead Clan. We obviously have them this Saturday in the league, so hopefully that will go a long way to seeing how the Challenge Cup semi-final goes. But we know that we have a very tough team to go through in order to get through to the final.
Well, it is the Braehead Clan against the Sheffield Steelers, the Nottingham Panthers against the Belfast Giants. More on this game here, though, at Sheffield. And after the game, I caught up with both head coaches, Stars Jeff Hutchins and the Sheffield Steelers' Ryan Finnerty. Ryan, pretty convincing in the end.
Yeah, we knew we needed a big start, being down 2-0 here, and thought the guys dug deep. That was probably one of the best periods we played all year, and to get the 5 goals obviously gave us a bit of cushion and the confidence going into the second and third.
That first goal was the important one, wasn't it, just to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, we knew we had to get to him early. I was saying to you earlier, he's a goalie that if you let him set into the game, he can change it, and we wanted to get on top of him early, and once we got that first one, it seemed that we were able to get a little bit more action going at him and stuff was going in.
Does it frustrate you a little bit that when you see your team play as well as they have in the last game today, that they haven't perhaps been doing that in some of the previous ones?
I think, it's good to see what we have and where the level that we can get, and obviously it's a benchmark on where we need to play. We're in a situation where we have to play like that every game from here on out. But I thought it was a character win. I thought the guys dug deep. They knew how much was on the line. They knew how much it meant for us as an organization to advance, and I think they were a credit to themselves. It was a great game to watch from the bench, and some fantastic plays and good work ethic all around.
You identified the Challenge Cup at the start of the season as a trophy you wanted to bring back to Sheffield. You're a step closer now.
Yeah, we're into the semis now, and we'll turn our attention to Braehead when the time comes, and we're still in in the hunt for all 3 trophies, and that's where we want to be. And now we get back to the league. We've got a big weekend here, a good successful weekend, and we can close the gap.
Jeff, that was a tough night for you.
Yeah, obviously it's not the way we wanted to end off the second leg of the cup, but credit to the Steelers, came out hard and stuck to their game plan and played physical, and we just weren't up for the challenge tonight.
First 10 minutes you kept it scoreless, which must have pleased you, but then once that first one went in, it seemed to open the floodgates.
Yeah, I think took a penalty, and I'm not even going to get into penalties, but we took a penalty, and they scored one, and it just gave them momentum, and they carried it, and credit to them. When they play hard and they play tough, they play well. But if they don't, then they're not as good. But tonight they were good, so credit to them.
Big weekends ahead for you now in your own conference. You're doing so well in there. You've got to put this behind you now and move forward, because it has been an excellent season.
Yeah, I spoke to the guys after the game, and you know, we do have to focus on Sunday night's game against Fife, and we're right there in the conference. We've got games in hand, and I think you know, we just need to switch our goals now into the league rather than the cup. And you know, it's not the way we wanted to end off tonight, but you know, we'll bounce back.
Obviously very tough for your new signing Lins tonight. He only met your team half an hour before the game. What did you make of what he did tonight and what he can bring you in the weeks ahead?
Yeah, I threw him up in the second period on with Ryan and Whirl, and yeah, there was a little bit of magic there. You know, he's a talented skater, and you know, you can tell that once he gets a couple, he's going to find his way, and I think he'll do good things for us.
A matter of building his confidence up after a barren spell.
Yeah, I was trying to, you know, in the second period, I was trying to give him a spark and maybe get one with one of those guys just to get his confidence back, but it wasn't to be tonight. But I have every confidence in him that he's going to bounce back for us.
So to recap the results from last week, starting on Wednesday the 23rd of January in the Challenge Cup, Coventry Blaze 2, Braehead Clan 2. Thursday the 24th saw the Dundee Stars take that 2-goal lead against the Sheffield Steelers with a 4-2 victory in their first leg. Friday the 25th of January, back in league action, the Braehead Clan overturning the Belfast Giants at the Odyssey by 6-2. Saturday the 26th of January saw Belfast shut out the Edinburgh Capitals 5-0. The Hull Stingrays beat the Fife Flyers 5-2. The Nottingham Panthers 8 to Coventry Blaze 3. Sheffield Steelers 5-4 over the Cardiff Devils. Sunday the 27th saw the Caps go down 3-2 in overtime at Murrayfield to the Sheffield Steelers. Dundee 2, the Braehead Clan 4. That was their third win in 3 nights. The Flyers 5-1 over the Hull Stingrays, and the Cardiff Devils going down in the big blue tent to the Nottingham Panthers by 4-2. On Tuesday the 29th of January, Braehead Clan 4, the Coventry Blaze 3. That took Braehead through into the semi-finals. And then the Sheffield Steelers 7, the Dundee Stars 0. The Nottingham Panthers 5, the Fife Flyers 2, taking both Sheffield and Nottingham into the semi-finals, and the Hull Stingrays with a 4-3 overtime victory over the Edinburgh Capitals. Let's see how that leaves the two conferences. Pretty much as you were. The Belfast Giants chasing the Nottingham Panthers at the top of the Erdhart. All a lot tighter though in the Gardner. Let's mix it all up and see how it comes out in the Elite League. And what we see there is the importance down at the bottom of that victory for the Hull Stingrays. They needed that 2 points over the Edinburgh Capitals to get closer to playoff contention. It's still an uphill battle for Sylvain Cloutier's team, but can they make it into the top 8? At the top, a 4-point gap for the Nottingham Panthers over the Belfast Giants. So looking at that league table, Danny, the Nottingham Panthers 4 points clear. I don't think it's all over though, is it?
No, certainly not. I mean, there's certainly some more twists and turns, and especially with the way the league is this year, where you play your conference team so many times. I mean, we still have to play Nottingham 3 times, and I know they obviously have to play Belfast a number of times yet. So there's no doubt that they are looking very good, but I believe there's a few more twists and turns yet, and it's been a funny league this year. I mean, Belfast at times looked like they turned things around, certainly with their win in Nottingham, and then a great win in Coventry, and then they follow up the next week by losing 6-2 at home to Braehead, and it's a bit of a head scratcher there. They can't seem to find much consistency, but the Panthers continue to roll on, and for us right now, obviously they're the team that we have to beat, and we have to try and catch, and hopefully we can start on Sunday.
They have this point advantage right now, don't they? And it's important that either Belfast or Sheffield get close enough to them to put pressure on them. That's the feeling.
I mean, it's so close right now. I mean, what with us playing them 2 weeks ago, that was a 2-2 game. That obviously there was an incident there that allowed Nottingham to win it. And, during that game you felt that either a miracle was going to happen, a real special play, or maybe, a fluky play. And, obviously we obviously feel a little bit downbeat about what happened, but at the same time we have many power plays to win that game. So things turn so quickly. That game, that goal that David Clark scored, that turned it from possibly a 3-point deficit if we had gone on to win that to a 7-point. So it just shows that there's a lot more to come, and we certainly need to win that game on Sunday against Nottingham.
A lot more to come indeed, and that means fixtures in the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League coming up this weekend. We politely suggest that you take in one of these great games. Starting, Braehead Clan, the Sheffield Steelers. Coventry entertain the Nottingham Panthers at the Skydome Arena, while a big game in Kirkcaldy in the Gardner Conference, the Five Flyers and the Edinburgh Capitals. Flip forward 24 hours, Sunday the 3rd of February, Hull Stingrays against the Coventry Blaze. That big one at the Motorpoint Arena between the Steelers and the Nottingham Panthers. In the big blue tent, Cardiff entertain the Belfast Giants. Edinburgh, the Braehead Clan, and Dundee Stars take on the Five Flyers. You'll be able to see all the action, all the hits, the incidents and the goals on our next show. That's next Friday, the 8th of February on Sky Sports 4, 7 p.m, and then repeated at 10 p.m. Well, folks, it's been a good night for the Sheffield Steelers, and at the NIC, a very good night for the Nottingham Panthers. They both join the Braehead Clan and the Belfast Giants in the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. Back to league action next week, and I reckon next Friday we will be another big step closer from knowing who is going to be the Elite League champion. If the Panthers can get 4 points out of 4, it's certainly looking advantage them. Thanks for giving up your time this weekend, taking a game, and we'll see you next week. Good night.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.